Hello, salut, buongiorno, and welcome to another episode of the Traveler's Haven podcast series, where we look at all things true travel professionals need and need to hear. In today's episode, we will be looking at the things that happen even before you go for your trip. The preparation. You can have the spots marked, the things planned, but if you're not prepared, it can end up being one big headache. So we're going to look at all the things you need to do to prep without weighing yourself down, to plan without over-planning, and to travel safe and comfortably. Packing, knowing the essentials from the accessories. When it comes to preparing for any trip, let's be honest, packing is usually the part we dread the most. Some of us pack like we're moving across the country, and others pack like we're just running out the door. The trick is to find that sweet spot between the two, traveling light, but still having everything you actually need. So, how do you figure out what qualifies as an essential and what's just an accessory? Let's start with the essentials. These are the things that, if you forget them, you'd be inconvenienced every single day of your trip. Think about it. Your identification, travel documents, and any required medical cards. Comfortable, versatile clothing, pieces you can mix and match rather than outfits that work only once, a reliable pair of shoes that you can walk in for hours, personal care basics, toothbrush, toiletries, any medications and chargers for your electronics. Those are the non-negotiables. They're the foundation of every suitcase or backpack. Now let's talk about the accessories. Accessories aren't bad, but too many of them can weigh you down. This is where we tend to overpack. The extra jacket you might wear, the fourth pair of shoes, the oversized hairdryer from home. These things eat up space, add weight, and you usually never see the light of day once you arrive. Here's the test I like to use. If you look at an item and think, maybe I'll need it, leave it. If you look at it and think, I know I'll use this, pack it. Essentials earn their spot because you'll definitely use them. Accessories should only come along if they serve multiple purposes or truly enhance your comfort without taking up much space. This balance is especially important for professionals who travel often, like travel nurses. When you're moving between assignments, sometimes every couple months you can't afford to lug around a dozen bags full of just-in-case items. Streamlining what's in your luggage helps you stay flexible, mobile, and focused on the work that you do there, while still keeping your personal essentials close at hand. And the truth is, this applies to everyone. Whether you're preparing for a 2-week vacation, a 3-month work placement, or just a long weekend getaway, the goal is the same. Lighten your load so you can actually enjoy the experience. So when you're staring at that open suitcase before your next trip, ask yourself, is this an essential or just an accessory? The more honestly you answer, the smoother your travels will be. The travel day, leaving organized and arriving secure. So, you've packed smart. You know what's essential and what's just extra weight. Now comes the big day, travel day. And let's be honest, the day of departure can either feel smooth and exciting or stressful and chaotic. The difference usually comes down to one word: organization. The first piece of being organized is giving yourself more time than you think you'll need. Nothing makes a travel day spiral faster than rushing. Aim to leave early, have your documents ready, and if possible, check in online before you even leave for the airport. That way, instead of fumbling at the counter, you're breezing through to security. Speaking of security, packing light, as we talked about earlier, pays off here. Fewer bags mean fewer things to unpack and repack at checkpoints. Keep your liquids and electronics easy to reach, and wear shoes that you can slip on and off without holding up the line. These little details make a big difference in how calm you feel walking through the airport. Now, once you've landed, the next question is, how are you getting to where you're staying? This is where pre-planning saves you from a lot of headaches. Research transportation options at your destination ahead of time. Does the airport have a train or shuttle service into the city? Are rideshare apps like Uber or Lyft reliable there, or is it better to use local taxis? If you've booked a rental car, do you know exactly where the pickup counter is and what documents you'll need? Having at least one option in your back pocket, whether it's a shuttle schedule or a taxi app or even a printed map of the bus route, gives you a sense of control the moment you step off the plane. And then comes one of the most important parts of your arrival: housing. Whether you're checking into a hotel, meeting a host for a short-term rental, or moving into a furnished place for a longer stay, make sure your lodging checks 2 boxes: safe and secure. Read the reviews carefully before booking, double-check the address, and confirm things like locks, neighborhood safety, and how to contact your host or front desk if something doesn't feel right. This part is especially important for travel nurses or anyone on long-term assignments away from home. When your days are long and your energy is spent, the last thing you want to do is come back to a place that doesn't feel safe or comfortable. Your housing should be your refuge, not another source of stress. Make the most of your time. Plan the places you want to see the most. So now you've done it. You've packed the right way, you've made it through the travel day, and you're settled into housing that feels safe and secure. The big question becomes, how do you actually make the most of your time once you're there? It's easy to fall into 2 traps on a trip. The first is trying to do everything, running from one attraction to the next until you're exhausted. The second is doing almost nothing, wandering without direction and realizing at the end of the trip that you missed half of what you came for. The solution is a balance, and that starts with identifying your must-sees. These are the top experiences that, if you came home without doing them, you'd regret. Maybe it's visiting a landmark, maybe it's trying a famous restaurant, or maybe it's exploring a neighborhood that caught your attention. Write those down. That's your non-negotiable list. From there, build in the extras. Maybe you leave your mornings open for spontaneous exploration and schedule your bigger activities in the afternoons. Or maybe you reverse it. Knock out the big items first so you can relax later. The key is to give yourself a skeleton plan. Something that guides your days but doesn't lock you into a minute-by-minute schedule. And don't forget the power of local recommendations. Guidebooks and blogs are helpful, but some of the best experiences come from simply asking. The barista making your coffee? Ask her, what's your favorite lunch spot around here? The hotel clerk? Give them the question, if you had one free afternoon in this city, where would you go? Even fellow travelers you meet along the way, you can see what their highlights have been so far. I found that locals rarely point you toward the obvious tourist stops. Instead, they'll tell you about the quiet park with the best sunset view, the family-owned restaurant with food that tastes like home, or the weekend market that gives you a real feel for the community. And this is where the preparation from earlier segments really comes full circle. Because you packed light, you're free to move around without dragging unnecessary bags. Because you planned your transportation, you know how to get from point A to point B with confidence. And because your housing is safe and comfortable, you've got a solid base to return to after a long day out. For travel nurses, or really anyone who travels for work, this balance is even more important. When your schedule is demanding, your free time becomes precious. Having a short list of top priorities ensures you can still experience the best of your destination, even on limited days off. So when it comes to making the most of your time, the formula is simple. Identify what matters most, create a flexible plan around it, and leave space for those unplanned discoveries. Because sometimes the best travel moments aren't the ones you circle on the map, they're the ones you stumble into when you least expect it. So in the end, it's one big chain reaction. You have smart packing, smooth transport, and comfortable housing. They all work together to make your trip as memorable as possible. And for travel nurses, this preparation is even more key, as you want to make the most of the little time that you have. And that's all we have for today. So if you found this episode helpful, share it with anyone who's going to be traveling soon or any travel nurses that you know. I've been Sam. This has been Traveler's Haven, and I wish you safe travels.